Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Routed Up, your favorite Saturday morning show. We got Whittle, we got JMIK. Today we're going to, of course, recap the Thursday night football game between the 49ers and the Seahawks. Get into the games of the week and a big game this week. Ravens versus Commanders. They say it's the battle of the Beltway, the battle of the New Balance. And also, another rookie quarterback is getting his debut today. Drake May. On the other side of this, we are going to route it up. Whittle and JMIK. Yo, what's up? What's up, JMIK? What's up, Whittle? How y'all feeling, man?
It's 2 weeks in a row for me. So, outside of that, I'm great, man. I'm great.
I'm feeling good. For me and my team, and we got a quarterback change, so we got to see how that looks, man. So,
yeah, definitely. All right, man, let's get right into it, man. Seahawks, 49ers. Geno looking like old Geno. Squandering a lot of opportunities early. They made a little push to come back. So, starting with you, Whittle, what you think about that game, man?
I, for selfish reasons, I enjoyed the game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I did think that Seattle had an opportunity to get the win. I thought they would be able to run the football. Um, and I did think that they would get the ball. I thought they would be able to get the ball to their playmakers a lot more on the outside and the slot as well. But you know, for selfish reasons, I'm glad Gino was struggling because that opens up another potential trade target for the Buffalo Bills at wide receiver. I'm just gonna be honest. DK Metcalf does not look happy. I think he has one more year after this. He has a very very low cap number right now, and I could see DK as somebody we could fit in Buffalo in the cap going forward. But outside of future, outside of selfish reasons, Seattle's defense they're really not good, man. They're really really not good. Great pieces in the secondary, but I don't think they did a very good job of winning up front. Um, Even with no CMC, the 49ers were able to really run the ball as easily as kind of just on command. Um, Debo Debo was efficient as always, getting the ball as a running back or, out wide. He was an issue for them and Brock Purdy continues to make plays. The 49ers are not playing their best football and they're still finding ways to pull out games. That's got to be scary for the rest of the NFC West and the NFC as well.
yeah, I went into the game for me, I didn't see the Seahawks play against my team, so I know defensively, they just don't have it really. You can throw on them, you can pass on them. Run on them. So I went into the game knowing that, and honestly, the Seahawks he dodged a bullet because if Jordan Mason don't get hurt in the second quarter, he might have went for 200. He still ran for 75 yards, and he really didn't play more than half the game. And so when he went out, they started using him Debo in the backfield and Debo as a receiver and all that. And I just wasn't really surprised. I kind of knew what the script was going to be. I kind of knew that the 49ers was, they was going to 1.5 up big kind of, and then they were going to give it up. That's what they've been doing pretty much every game that they've lost. They gave it up. The only exception to that is that they were playing a quarterback that turned over the ball. One of his picks was on him. I think the second pick was more on DK than anything else. So I don't really blame him for the second pick. But Geno, I've never been confident in Geno. To me, Geno going to be Geno, and Geno going to turn over. If you get pressure on him, he going to turn over the ball. And that's just kind of what I knew going into the game, and that's kind of what happened. Personally, if I was a 49ers fan, I'd be concerned about that defense though, because it's they weren't. For the most part, they were stopping the run. I guess you could say. Outside of the second half, I guess. And like the passing game, I mean, like there's just holes in their secondary. Now I get it that like two of their safeties was out, but that's kind of been a trend for them. So
Yeah, I do got just a quick NFC question. How do you all see the NFC? Like, do you think there's a clear favorite? If so, are there two clear favorites? How do you all see the NFC?
Go ahead, JMIK.
For me, I've got two favorites. I mean, I look at the NFC Championship game last year. Like I look at the Lions and the Niners. I mean, you got to put the Niners up there because I mean they got the pedigree. And like if CMC does come back, which I mean, I'm hearing the reports, but I'm kind of like I don't even know if he really gonna come back. Like I won't believe it until he actually on the field. So I mean, if he can come back, and I mean they can get somewhat healthier on defense. I think they're still kind of like the top dog. And like, secondly, like I said, the Lions. Like I was a believer in the Lions last year. Like I picked them to win the division last year. I believed in them. And I'm just seeing like JMO is, like is playing that much better this year. And I think that creates a really dangerous situation, for the Lions and playing them and playing against them. And then like I look for their secondary to improve as the year goes on because they have a very young secondary. Like they drafted 2 corners in the draft. And I just think as the year goes on, like those guys are going to get better. And you have I mean like Aiden rushing the passer. And I mean like he's just a demon out there. So those are my two teams I have in the NFC.
Yeah, I'm right there too, JMIK. I don't believe in. I mean, I hate to say it like they're 5-0, but like Minnesota seems just like Minnesota kind of seems like Cinderella to me. I mean, at some point, like the clock's going to strike 12, they're going to turn right back into um a middle of the road team. I mean, they're not really super talented up and down that roster. I mean, I think they have a good line. I think their receivers are excellent. The quarterback is Sam Darnold. Like we know what Sam Darnold is like, and no amount of fairy godmother picks he does from O'Connell is going to change. My opinion on what he's going to be overall. Uh, I think Flores has done a great job with that defense. To me, that's the biggest surprise. Uh, as a Bills fan, I mean, Jay Mick is, we both in the AFC East. We know Andrew Van Ginkel could play.
Yeah.
And Harrison Phillips on the inside, I mean, we know about him as well. Like he was a solid player for Buffalo. The only thing that hurt his production was injuries. He was very good for us when he was able to play. But like neither one of those guys are really stars, and I think Flores does a great job of amplifying what they're able to do defensively through scheme and through exotic blitz packages and making the quarterbacks have to make quick decisions versus being able to analyze post snap what's going on. So I just can't put them up there. I think talent wise, San Francisco is going to get healthy. They're going to get their guys back later in the year, which is when you really need them. So November, December, they're probably going to be playing a lot of really good. They're probably going to be playing great football going into the playoffs, which is what you want. And same thing with Detroit. Like Detroit is to me the class in the NFC right now. I think they're the best team. They have the best roster. I think they have the most talent on both sides of the football. So it's those two teams. I mean, Tampa Bay looks good. Looks like they could beat anybody in a game if they needed to. Um, the Commanders are a wild card because Jaden Daniels, JD5, I think that's what y'all call him. He's balling like he's really really doing his thing, and it's already week 6, and it doesn't seem like teams have figured out a way to slow him down. He's just improved every single week. So when you have a quarterback like that, um, it's kind of difficult to deal with, or and a guy like that could win you a game, on the road or at home because his ability to be explosive and make plays with his legs, make plays with his arms. He's got great pass catchers. Him, McLaurin. I love McCaffrey. I think you guys have him in the slot, and then Austin Eckler is a really good playmaking running back as well. So I just I don't know, man. I mean, they've done a great job with the defense as well. I don't know how long that's going to last, but so far so good for the Commanders. but it's definitely Detroit and San Fran until somebody steps up and kind of ends their season.
Yeah, I'll just add on to what you said. Like the only reason I didn't mention the Vikings was because in that Jets game, I seen once like I mean, Aaron Jones went out. That offense was different. It wasn't
Yeah.
quite the same. I mean, Sam Darnold was struggling, and so I got to see how they come out. Like I think they got a bye week this week, so I mean, like Aaron Jones, I think he got like a hip issue or whatever, so he might be back. But like that kind of scared me a little bit because I mean, like I mean, when he was in the game, I mean, like that offense was moving, and then when he got out of there, it was a whole different story.
All right, let's stay right there with you, JMIK. What are your game of the week this week?
My game of the week. So I mean, I was going down the slate. And I mean, I wanted to pick another game, but I mean, you just got to go. I mean, Commanders and Ravens. I think that's the game of the week. I mean, and you got two teams that are leading their divisions. I mean, the Commanders are 4-1. I mean, like big surprise in the NFC, and like the Ravens are 3-2, which you could say is a surprise. And I think some people expected like the Ravens to be better than 3-2 at this point, and they could easily be 2-3 if the Bengals did not get the kick block last week. So I mean, like it's I mean, like it's surprising on both sides. I mean, like I just think it's a game of I mean, and you have Lamar and you have Jaden, and I think people are expecting a bunch of points in this game. And like I just I mean, for me, like it's like must watch TV because I think you're gonna get like a lot of I mean, big plays. I mean, like a lot of like explosive plays. And I kind of want to see how each team secondary plays because like the Commanders secondary hasn't been the greatest, and then I can say the same about the Ravens. And you're going against two offenses that could put up points. I mean, like whether you talk about like through running the ball or through passing it. So I'm just excited to see this game and just excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, I looked at the slated games. I mean, that of course, Commanders, Ravens sticks out. Anytime you have two teams in that close vicinity, it's going to put something extra on the game. But and then you add in the factor of two black quarterbacks, athletic, um, athletic guys that can throw the football down the field, can win, can beat you in a multitude of ways. Um, that game sticks out. Uh, the other game that kind of sticks out to me is the Lions Cowboys. I think the Cowboys come into this off a 2 game win streak, with a big road win last week against Pittsburgh. Uh, Going into this game, like this is a litmus test for the Cowboys. You're going up against the clash of the NFC and the Lions, and if the Cowboys can win this game with the injuries that they have, we got to start talking about them in that upper echelon in the NFC. Like they now become part of that uh, top tier in the NFC. Like right now, it's just to me, the Vikings because they're 5-0, and then you have the 49ers and the Lions, like we said earlier. But the Cowboys can beat the Lions. I think they elevate themselves into that tier. And we're gonna start talking about them a little different. We're gonna start watching them a little bit more. So that's my game. That's my game of the week. I think that's a big game with playoff implications.
Sticking with the Ravens Commanders games. You think about the AFC, the Ravens, they came out, with a couple losses. The fans believe that they're getting stronger. They've played their best games the last 2 weeks. What means more to them, a loss or a win? Start with you, JMIK.
So I think I look at it from two aspects. I think I look at it from the like I think from a fan aspect. Because like like what was said earlier, it's just like a situation where I mean like you have two teams that play really close to each other. So from a fan aspect, it's a big deal because I'm sure you got like Ravens fans that live in DC and you got Commander fans that live in Baltimore. So you got that dynamic going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I honestly think it's bigger for the Commanders because I think like people are like Jaden I mean like Jaden has played really well like especially the last 2 weeks. But I think it's because like the Ravens have made a AFC Championship game last year. I mean, they didn't win it, but they made it there, and like they make the playoffs every year. But the Commanders haven't been good in like a little while. And so like I think they need to kind of prove themselves and say, hey, I mean, like, we're going up against the Ravens, a team that's one of the top teams in the AFC, a team that made the AFC Championship game last year. And so the thing is, like, if they could beat the Ravens, then I mean, like, they could say, hey, I mean, like, we're we're really here. It's not fluky or whatever. And I mean, like, I mean, we're like a real team. Like to commend it, not say that y'all not a real team, but I mean, people, there are some people out there that are questioning, I mean, some of the games because y'all played the like the Bengals and the Cardinals, and I mean, like, some people don't really think that those teams this year are good. So I mean, this is your chance to go up, I think it's one of the first few games that y'all are going up against a team that's like can consider like a top contender. So I mean, that's just the way I look at that. And it's just like something to prove. And I mean, like, I'm hoping for a good game. And I mean, like, I think the Commanders are going to play well. Now, I mean, whether they win or not, that's something that I'm not quite sure about.
Yeah, Whittle. So I think, like, when we was talking about it this week, just like JMIK said, a win for the Commanders puts them into that conversation, but a loss for the Ravens just, is just another game. We move on to the next game. But what if the Ravens lose? What does that say to them as far as the AFC is concerned? Being as though they kind of struggle early, I mean, just like JMIK said, they could have lost that game Sunday against the Bengals. What does that look for them for the rest of the, as they look towards the rest of the year?
Well, I would put them at 3-3 with 2 losses that really should have been wins. Like, they should have beat the Raiders, and they definitely should have beat the Raiders. And then if they lose to the Commanders, that'll be another loss where you looked at it at the beginning of the year and you said, okay, those 2 games are definitely wins for the Ravens. Like you said, I mean, and then you add into the fact that if Cincinnati's defense could stop anybody, they would be sitting at 2-4 if they lose this game. Seeding is going to be extremely important. The Chiefs are 5-0 at this point, and you got a lot of 3-2 teams kind of just trying to figure it out. Like, this is a big week. If the Bills win this game against the Jets on Monday night, all is not well, but it's definitely better than being 3-3 and second place in that division. And if the Ravens were to lose and the Steelers win, the Steelers would be in sole possession of first place in that division with all of their division games coming up at the end of the year, and all they need to do is basically win those, and they guarantee themselves a home playoff game with a division win. So it's extremely important. Houston sitting at 4-1 with multiple games on their so far that they played this season that, could have gone the other way, 1 or 2 plays go different. So while there is a lot of talent in the AFC, teams right now are just underperforming. And I don't know what it is, but if the Ravens go down to 2-4 or 3, if they go 3-3, if they're 3-3, and you still have all of these division games left in the season, and you're not, kind of keeping pace with the pace setters right now, with the Chiefs and the Texans at 4-1. I mean, you could find yourself falling behind and playing a game of musical chairs at the end of the season to see who slides in that 6th or 7th spot. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to have important games week 16, 17, and 18 in the AFC. You want to rest your guys. You want to prepare for the playoffs. You want to be able to kind of tune some things up and get ready for the postseason.
All right, JMIK. What is that? The number 3 overall pick?
Yeah, that's him.
It's time, man. It's time. What are we expecting?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, like, I'm going to like looking at like the 5 games we had with Jacoby. I just think you got to the point where Jacoby really, he's a conservative kind of quarterback. He doesn't take a lot of chances. In doing that, you're not going to make a lot of mistakes, but you're not going to have a lot of big plays either. And I just think it got to the point, I mean, like, when I watch the team and I watch all 22 every week, I mean, I'm seeing wide receivers that are getting open and they're not getting the ball, and some of those guys are getting frustrated. And I just think it just reached the point with the team where the team was like, look, like we're not winning anyways. And I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like the Patriots don't got the best, you know, I mean, like, you know, pass blocking the line in the league or whatever. Like they're in the bottom third, like pretty much bottom five. And I just figured that they just thought like, hey, I mean, our line is starting to get a little bit healthier. I mean, Drake May is a mobile guy. He's a mobile quarterback. So I mean, like some of the pressure that Jacoby's seeing, he can't get away from that. I mean, Drake can. I mean, I would have liked the change to happen the previous week against the Dolphins. I mean, I would have liked it there, but I mean, like it is what it is. Like at some point in his career, he's going to face tough defense. Like he's in the AFC East. Like you got the Jets, the Jets, the Bills, and the Dolphins. I mean, like the Dolphins defense is kind of injured, but I mean, like the Jets and the Bills normally have really really good defense. So he's going to see them defenses regardless. I mean, what I'm expecting. I mean, we're going up against the Texans. I mean, the Texans are really going to pressure Drake a lot. Like I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. Like I expect him to get a lot of pressure. But I do expect him to make some throws. I mean, here and there. I mean, it's his first start in the NFL. So I'm not saying he's going to go for 300 and 3 touchdowns. Like I'm not expecting that. But I mean, like there's certain things I want to see, like poise in the pocket. And I mean, like stuff like that. So I mean, like I don't have high expectations. Like I don't even think we're going to win the game, but I do think he's going to make some plays.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. It might be somebody you gotta, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Whittle, what's up, man?
Hey, man. Listen, man. The biggest obstacle in the way of the Buffalo Bills is the Buffalo Bills. All right, right now. That's what I'm going with. No. Real talk. Yeah, Drake. I mean, Drake can make plays, man. Like he's definitely you know the talent is there. You know he's better. He's got a better ceiling than Jacoby Brissett. And I think right now, is a perfect time to bring him in. I would have done it a little sooner than this. But it makes sense. Like you bring him in now, you have the entire season to make mistakes and learn and kind of get accustomed to the speed and to the different concepts of defense that the NFL teams will throw at you. I feel like by the end of the season, they're gonna be a good team. I think they're gonna be ready to hit the ground running next season. And of course, we played them 2 of the last 3 weeks of the year, so we'll get the Patriots at the absolute best that they're gonna be this year, which is right on brand for what the Bills do, make everything hard for themselves. So this is good for the Patriots. Um, we thought at the beginning of the year that this was going to be a 2-team race in the division, and the Bills. It was supposed to be Miami and the Jets fighting it out for the division. The Bills were in a reset year, and the Patriots were going to finish last. Well, so far, some of that's true, some of it isn't. And I think the Patriots have an opportunity now to, make their mistakes early and win some games on the back end, and maybe not finish last in this division, because I honestly think the Dolphins are. I think they're completely cooked. I think it's over for them. Like they're done.
Mm-hmm. When you got somebody posted a tweet, the first play that should do is a quarterback sneak when he gets back, and Cheetah replied, "Who's going to call the next play?" I said, "Goodness gracious, it's over. It's over.
Yeah, man, it's
absolutely
man.
over."
Yeah, that's it, man. Like, I mean, I hate it had to be this way, but like, dog, I mean, and it's not even just a Tua thing. Like, they just make bad decisions. You sign Jalen Waddle, cool, no problem, but then you extend Tyreek Hill for what? Like, you should be trying to get younger and cheaper because you
Did
got
they
to
have
pay
a couple
Tua.
more years on that deal?
Yes, I think they had 2 more
Yeah,
years.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I mean, and I know they did it to free up some space, but you already lost Christian Wilkins. You paid Jalen Waddle, that made sense, but then you pay Ramsey. I have no idea why, and then you pay. You extend Tyreek Hill when I just feel like you take your lumps this year, you bring Tua back, and you go into the draft. You go get a Tyreek replacement, and you work on those and work on the trenches. You try to get better, and you got to sign Javon Holland as well. So I don't know. They just make a lot of questionable decisions. Mike McDaniel does not seem to have uh, he doesn't seem to have an answer when his initial play script is thwarted, or when it doesn't work, when defenses take away what he wants to do, he doesn't have a counter move. So I don't know, man. They're in trouble. They're talking about
Yeah.
firing their head coach and bringing in Belichick. I mean, the Dolphin space is a wild right now. I mean, it's crazy. It's like a conspiracy series space now. It's just it's sci-fi and fairy tales in there. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh man. All right. JMIK, upset of the week.
I mean, for me, this was kind of tough, man. Because I mean, there's a couple games where I could see, I mean, upsets happening. But what I ultimately decided to go with, I went with the Chargers Broncos game. I mean, the game's in Denver. Chargers are favored by 3 in Denver, and I know as well as anybody, that it's hard. Like Denver's a hard place to go and play. I mean, from the Tom Brady, that's one of the teams that Tom Brady struggled with the most was the Broncos. It's probably going into Denver. I mean, the game is a divisional game. I mean, the Broncos are playing, defense really, at a really high level right now. And the Chargers offense is not really humming. I mean, like their run game is really good, but their pass game is not really humming like that. They're coming off a bye, so I'm not sure if Joe Alt is going to be playing this game, because I don't think he played in the last game. And I think Slater got like a torn pec, so I think Slater done for the year. So I just think it's a tough game for them. And I can see like the Broncos, playing really well at home, and I can see them winning.
What you got, Whittle?
JMIK, man, y'all gotta come through, baby. Y'all gotta come through. I'm looking at the Patriots over the Texans, man. I mean, the Texans do not do a good job of stopping the run. Yes, they will bring pressure, but the way you eliminate that pressure is by running the football. If you can run the football, you can keep that offense on the sideline, which is already hampered. I don't know if Joe Mixon is going to play. They did put Nico Collins on the IR, so he'll be out for the next 4 games. I don't see why. They're going to get a nice bump from the quarterback switch. They're going to get a nice bump from that offensively. And defensively, they have played well. I think not having to deal with Nico Collins, I think Jeremiah will have these guys ready to go. CJ Stroud turned the ball over multiple times against Buffalo in the second half. So I think the Patriots can if they can get a couple of takeaways, get a couple of extra possessions, control the pace of the game using Stevenson and running that football and keeping Drake May in positions where he's looking at 2nd and 4, 3rd and 3, where he can where the play action becomes an issue for them. I just feel like the Patriots have a really good shot of stealing a game that they probably shouldn't get because of the state of both teams right now. And I was right last week on my upset pick, by the way. So
Yep.
I mean, the only thing I tell you is that Mondre is actually not playing in the game, so like you're gonna get like a lot of Gibson. I mean, honestly, like Gibson's been good for us this year, so I can't even really front on him. Like he's played really well. Like he hasn't put the ball on the ground, which I mean, like a commander fans could tell you last year, like he did a lot of that last year. But I mean, he hasn't fumbled yet. So
yeah,
I didn't know Mondre was out.
Yeah, he's out. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, the one thing with Gibby that we noticed over the years is the more touches he gets, the more he's prone to fumble.
Okay.
Like if he's like the last year or so, when he was kind of RB2 behind B-Rob, he didn't put the ball on the ground. He didn't get as many touches as he did his first 3 years in the league.
Yeah, so I'll just add real quick. Like, yeah, he's gonna be the number 1 back this week. But I mean, we called up one of our draft picks. I think his name's Harris. So I mean, we drafted him 2 or 3 years ago. So I mean, like Gibson is not gonna get all the carries. So
yeah, man,
give me Browns over Eagles, man.
There you go.
I can't trust that, man. I can't trust that.
There you go. Man,
I
if
think the
they
Eagles just moved it, bro.
let's stay right there. We got some time. The Eagles lose to the Browns. What is it gonna look like in Philadelphia Monday morning?
Man, it ain't gonna be good. I can tell you that. Like,
Yeah, nah.
it ain't gonna be good. I can tell.
That's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, I mean, because the funny thing about the Philly fans is they already want their coach fired.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't want Sirianni no more. I don't really blame him because I don't really know what he does. To me, I mean, he just walk around the sidelines, and I mean, I guess he'd be choosing to go for it on fourth downs. He ain't got no business going for it on. I guess what he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Philly is a lot like I mean, like the market in New York and like the market in Boston, like like they're intense fans, and so this is not a game that you could lose. So I mean, I just think if he loses this game, I mean, like, they're gonna be calling for his head, and it's just not gonna be good in that city. So yeah.
Yeah, that could be rough for Philadelphia. I mean, let's be honest. The Eagles have been disappointing so far this year. The Phillies we know what just happened to the Phillies, and you're looking at a season of while I do love Tyrese Maxey, Embiid is who he is, and Paul George is who he is. So, as a Celtics fan, I celebrated the move of Paul George coming over to the 76ers because to me that's just a higher price to Tobias Harris, and I'm good with that. A little bit more athletic. He's gonna make a few more ESPN plays, but yeah, that like it's gonna be a rough year for them. Maybe the Flyers will be good, but for the rest of Philly sports right now, yeah, it's looking rough, bro. It's looking rough.
All
How's
right.
Temple doing? How's Temple doing?
I don't know. Sticking with the possibility of Sirianni getting fired, Robert Salah. I mean, Whittle. I mean, were you surprised?
I was surprised that they fired Salah. I really was. Not that they fired him, but when they fired him, that was, and
Yeah.
in the way like you don't let the dude talk to the team on the way
Yeah.
out.
That
Like,
was weird.
I mean, they did it like he was stealing people's lunches out the fridge in
Yeah.
the break room. Like that was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it, but I mean, it's another example of um, when you have like we know who the stable organizations are, and we know who the organizations are that are in disarray. And win-loss record doesn't have a lot. I mean, it doesn't have much to do with it because the Patriots haven't been winning a ton of games over the last couple of years, but that's still a stable franchise. Like they do business the right way. The
Mhm.
Cardinals do business the right way. They haven't won a
Mhm.
ton of games recently, but they still do business the right way. Even Denver, like there was that whole situation with Russ last year, but outside of that, I mean Denver, they handle their business kind of the right way. And you don't see a lot of nonsense. But then there are other organizations prior to the switch up in Washington. The Commanders was a shit show for a minute. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I'm good.
About that guy. Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. I mean, and then you got the Panthers. The Panthers are, they're a horrible organization. Um, Chicago is teetering on that as well. The Bears. I mean, they can't seem to get right with coaching, and let's see how this iteration of that franchise goes. Um, and then the Jets. I mean, you have two top three picks in the last like 7 years at quarterback, and neither one of those guys are on the team. It just doesn't make sense. Like everybody leaves and all these quarterbacks leave and they go someplace else and they revitalize their career. I mean, Geno Smith is doing this thing in Seattle. He hasn't played. He's not. He is what we think. I mean, he is what he is, but he's better than what he was with the Jets. Same thing with Sam Darnold. Like he's the starting quarterback for a 5-0 team. I mean, he's bounced around, but the talent, there is talent there, and they see it. They can never seem to figure it out. Firing your coach, a defensive minded coach, when your defense currently ranks number 2 in the league is wild. It's absolutely wild. You lose the game to Minnesota after Jones goes down. You come back and still manage to lose the game because the quarterback has three. You know, he has three interceptions. Like that's not on the head coach. Like the head coach gave
Yeah.
you guys a chance to win. That defense played great, and to fire him now, I mean, I almost feel like they said to themselves, like, let's try to save the season. Let's fire Salah and see if we get that one game coach bump with going into this Bills game. If we beat the Bills with 3-3 ahead of the division, and then we'll go on a run with some lesser teams and see what we can do with the rest of the year and try to, see if we can hold off the Bills for the rest of the year. And I just don't know if that's going to work because that defense, those guys they really liked playing for Salah. They really liked a lot of them got better because of him. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It would have made more sense to get rid of Joe Douglas or get rid of Nathaniel Hackett, but Aaron Rodgers has that franchise by the you know what right now. So
Yeah, so I'll go back to the summer. Like this is why you never see me picking the Jets to win the division. Like I just won't do it. And I mean, like I'm just people that are starting to pay attention to the Jets now outside of the division. I mean, welcome to the Jets experience. This is what the Jets experience really is. Like people don't understand the way I be talking about the Jets, and this is why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Whittle said. Like their defense is ranked number 2 in the league, but you fire the coach, and I get like I don't consider Robert Saleh to be this great head coach either. But the defense is not the issue. The issue is the offense. The issue is the quarterback that you traded for is not playing that good. Like, I mean, let's just not sugarcoat it. Like for me, I mean, I think he was getting fired regardless. I think it's a little bit early, but pretty much what I would have did was I would have fired Hackett first. And I get it because it's like that's Rodgers' guy. But at some point you got to look at it like he was OC last year and it didn't work out. And I mean, like you literally got the same issues that you had last year, and you supposedly got a better quarterback, and you still can't really score. I mean, like they're having they got a guy in Breece Hall, which a lot of people consider him to be a top 5 running back in the league. Off of potential, he's not playing well. I mean, like the guy that they have at wide receiver 1 that Jet fan think he's a top 10 wide receiver in the league, that he's a wide receiver 1. He's not playing good.
top 5. They
So
said he was borderline top 5, JMIK.
So I mean, I mean, I'm listening to all these things that they're supposed to have that are underperforming, and like they signed pieces to the old line that trying to make the old line better, and they still can't run block. And I mean, in certain games they can't even pass block because the Riders out there getting killed. So it's just like for me, like I said, Sally was going to get fired eventually. Like if they would have struggled more, he would have got fired. But I would have liked to see them give it, to give him a chance to actually like let go of Hackett or demote Hackett first. And see how the offense responds. But it also goes to what Whittle was saying. Like the a lot of those defensive guys they like Salah. Like, and I think there was a quote from Salah saying that he was still going to play. He's going to even though Salah was fired, they would he was still going to play for Salah because Salah made him a lot better. And so I just think that's that's one of the things that the Jets organization and the fans aren't really counting on is just that you might like he wasn't the DC, he wasn't calling from the plays during the game. But I'm pretty sure he's part of the strategy and strategizing that Jets defense every week. So I don't think a lot of people are like counting on the fact that the Jets defense it might regress. Like and I'm not saying they're going to regress to being the 15th or the 20th best defense in the league, but I think they're number 2. There's a chance that they could regress to being the 7th or the 8th best defense in the league. And the way that offense is not playing right now, that's going to be a big deal. And so. So I mean, like I'm just kind of just waiting to see because I actually put up the schedule because they got the Bills Monday night, they got the Steelers the following Sunday night, and then they got the Patriots, and then they got Houston, the Cardinals, and the Colts right before they bye until they get to Week 12. So I mean, it's a crucial stretch, man. I mean, like like in that stretch of 6 games, like they gotta at least pull out 3 of them games at least. I mean, honestly, if you wanted to be honest, like I think they gotta in them 6 games, like they gotta go 4-2. If they want a chance, because right now they're 2-3. So I mean, even if they were to go 3-3, they'd still be 5-6. They'd still be below 500. So I don't know, I don't know if it's gonna be the typical Jets where it's gonna be a dumpster fire, or they find a way to actually I mean Rodgers finds a way to play better, and I mean like I mean make the offense better. I mean we just got to see. I mean I don't got a lot of trust in them because I've watched the Jets my whole life, so I just for me, the final thing I'll say is with the Jets, they got to show me like that organization has been bad for the Jets, like most of my life. And I'm, I'm not 20 years old. Like I'm 37. So that's we talking about a long time. So before I start picking them for divisions and doing all that, they got to show me that they are a good run. Team. And and the thing is, right now, I really can't say that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, they did demote Hackett. A lot of people saying they fired Salah because he wanted to demote Hackett, but they still end up doing it. So I don't know. It seems strange to me. All right,
There's
well,
another story. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
There's another story going around about he was fired because he had a Lebanese flag on
Oh,
his
the
sleeve.
patch. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah.
I mean, when the Hackett thing happens after he gets fired anyway,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of take that Hackett thing off the board. You can't say it's because the defense isn't playing well. And if you want to blame somebody for why the team isn't playing well, I mean, the guys that they brought in on the offensive line, for the most part, have played. They played well. But it's the guys that have been there. Titman in his second year hasn't
Mm-hmm.
had a great season. AVT, isn't he isn't playing spectacular. Morgan Moses got hurt, so now they're trying to figure out. They drafted Olu, and Olu had a good first game and then got exposed.
Yeah.
The last 2 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
and the other problem with them is that at some point you expect Buffalo to figure it out offensively. Like the last 2 weeks, uh, Josh Allen has played poor football. He's not played well. And the coaching staff got the coaching staff definitely got their lunch taken over the last 2 weeks as well. You expect them to figure it out. You expect them to get better and play more like how they've looked over the last few years. But the Jets, this is what we have to go off of. Like what we see is kind of what most of us expected that are in the AFC East. We kind of thought this was what was going to happen. Like Aaron Rodgers was going to look like a 40-year-old coming off of an Achilles, and they drafted two running backs, but they want to throw the football. What was it? 60? They threw the football like 80 or 90 times between the last two games.
Yeah, I think
It
so.
makes no
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
got Eric
so
Bieniemy as their coordinator.
no, no. But I remember we told y'all that Eric Bieniemy was trash, and y'all told us he wasn't. But that's why we'll leave that alone. That's a
Yeah, we
pass. Y'all
definitely
good now. Y'all got Kingsbury. Y'all good.
we leave him on the West Coast. All right. Oh yeah, and wasn't they owner like had some type of cabinet position over there or something? But yeah, I
He was
think
the
it's OG.
ambassador to the UK for while Donald Trump was in office. So
Yeah, yeah,
all I'm gonna say is we're not going back.
yeah.
that rollback is crazy. Yeah, that's funny though.
Blowout notice, Mick. What you got?
I mean, the funny thing is, like, before we start talking about the Jets, and I think the Whittle had the Browns upsetting the Eagles. I got that same game. I got the Eagles. I mean, for blowing doors in that game, man. Because it's like they haven't had. I think sometimes people we forget they ain't had AJ since week one in that Packers game. Like he hasn't played, and I mean, like Smitty hadn't played either since what, like since the Saints game. So I mean, like the news coming out of Philly is that they're gonna have both of those guys. They're gonna have both of those guys and Saquon. And I just think that offense is gonna be so potent. And I just think that the Browns is a dumpster fire right now, man. Like I mean, like this report's talking about like if they lose a couple more games, like it's a fire sale. And I just don't see it like, I mean, like, and the thing with the Browns is like, I mean, you're starting to see like dissension from the coach to the quarterback. I think in that last game, like the coach was, I mean, trying to go for it on fourth down, and I mean, Watson tried to walk off the field and all. Like, I just don't think it's a good situation. I don't like. I'm not like I'll tell my head like I don't know if the game's in Cleveland or Philly. I don't really care. I just think like the Eagles are gonna, I mean, like the Eagles also coming off a bye week, so I think they're gonna come out strong. They're starting to see that the Cowboys are turning it around, and like the Commanders are playing well. So I feel as if like this is a must-win game for them.
And I got the Falcons over the Panthers, man. I mean, I think the Falcons are gonna run up the score against these guys. The Panthers are not a good team. I think they're headed to the number one pick. Was it 3 years in a row? I
Yeah.
think they are, man. I think they're headed to the number one pick 3 years in a row. Shout out Cam Ward. You're going to be a Panther, I believe. And the Falcons are like offensively, they have everything you want. I think they have a solid line. They have a stable of running backs that are very, very good difference maker in Bijan Robinson. You got a big, tall receiver in Drake London. Darnell Mooney's playing well. Kyle Pitts is a super athletic tight end that, hasn't played up to his potential, but I mean, the talent is still there. And then Kirk Cousins, like, they keep Kirk Cousins upright. This is just one of those games, like, it's not a primetime game. It's a game that probably most people won't care about. And it's one of those games that you're going to look on the ticker at the bottom of your screen and see, Kirk Cousins, 360 yards, 4 touchdowns, and they put up, like 41 to like 10. Yeah, I just think they're going to obliterate the Panthers. They're gonna destroy them.
All right, man. That's going to be like that Eagles game. If they come back and I think watching that game live with the Browns, the body language. I mean, not only that play you referred to, but from the first quarter on, the body language on the sidelines, going to the sidelines, like that team is giving up. That team has completely given up. And a blowout Sunday, man, can definitely. I mean, I actually think Amari Cooper gets traded anyhow, but it can get deeper than that. I mean, they can really just start over. To be honest, just reset.
Yeah, the only thing is for me, it's hard to reset with that Deshaun Watson contract on your books because they keep restructuring that deal and they keep pushing the money to the last 2 years of the deal. Yeah. And I think the last 2 years, like I think the cap is like 65, 70. It's something crazy. So I mean, like at some point, like they're gonna either have to just eat that money for them 2 years and just kind of just stay pat with him, or they're gonna have to like draft a guy and just try to play the guy over him. It's not. No one's gonna trade for that contract. So I just don't know what they're gonna do.
He might retire. No one wants, and it's like every year, every summer, something else pops up from that situation. Like every summer, I don't think nobody wants that.
NFL owners got money, man. Set them up. Get them set up. Get him to a club. Put some of that Diddy stuff in his drink. The next thing you know, he wakes up at a massage parlor. There's cases everywhere, bro. There's cases everywhere. You get out that contract. Come on, bro.
Oh man.
Listen, if they call Robert Kraft, they can catch anybody. Deshaun Watson's not above getting caught. So
they definitely had him on.
Listen, man. Couple 100,000, you get it done. Get it out the way.
Has your MVP projections changed at all, Whittle? So far through what?
Yeah, man. Games? Yeah, man. I gotta take Josh. I gotta take Josh out, man. I hate to do it, man. I gotta take Josh out.
Hold on, my bad. My computer tripping. I think it's the audio is kind of messed up. Stuff coming out. I don't think.
Here we go.
Say that again, Whittle. My bad.
Hey man, listen, man. You know me, man. I try to keep it real, bro.
Yeah.
I got to take Josh out the MVP running right now. It's like that last Houston game was just. I went back and watched they got that new joint NFL Pro, right, where you could just pull every receiver and watch every receiver's routes for the whole game. You can watch every passing play and just have the passing plays. And bro, the fact that he just ignored multiple open receivers underneath it's just telling me what I already knew. Like Josh wants to attack all levels of the field, and if you don't let him, he's going to do it anyway. And he said, you know what? Y'all don't want to give me the go ball. Y'all don't want to give me the deep post. Y'all don't want to give me that corner out. I'm taking them all this game and F everything else. I'm not throwing screens. I'm not throwing hitch routes. I'm not throwing. He just ignored everything. So he basically had his little hissy fit. This is a big game against the Jets. He has an opportunity to put himself back in the running, but right now I got to take him out of there, man. Got to take him out.
For me, like So I didn't take Josh Allen off my top 5 list. Like he's just not in the top 3. That's all. Like he's more 4 or 5. And it's gonna make Commander fans happy, but I just think you gotta put Jaden at the number 1 candidate right now. Like it's getting to the point where like people, people watch the Arizona game and thought, well, the kid can't do it again. Did against the Bengals, and they thought the kid can do it. Like he keeps defying a lot of people's criticisms that he can't have these high completion rate games, and he keep doing it. And so you got it for me, like theoretically for me, like the preseason, like when I make my top 10 list, like I don't just do it off of 1 year. Like it's got to be 2 to 3 years. But when we're in season, you're talking about the MVP. If Jay's not on that team not 4-1. I mean, honestly, if you have any other quarterback, it's fair to say that they might only have maybe 1 win because it's just like he does so much for that team. So I got to give, like credit where credit is due. Like in the draft process, I was high on Jaden. Like I've always been high on the kid. Like I thought he was really going to function well in NFL, and he's doing that. So you got to give the kid credit. And I think my list for the most part is the same. It's just like the order is different. So I think what I had Jaden at 1, I got Baker at 2. I think I had I had Derrick Henry at 3, Josh at 4, and I think I might have had Geno at 5. No, I don't think I had Geno at 5. I can't remember where I had 5. But yeah, like that's my list. It's just like the order's changed up. Like I'm just not gonna move you off for 1 or 2 bad games. Josh has had 1 or 2 bad games. Like I don't know how bad. Like I don't think he was really bad in the Ravens game. I just think the Ravens would just play really well. Now that game they had against the Texans, he just wasn't good in that game. I'm not gonna front or whatever. He just didn't play well. But that's why I moved him down to like the 4th spot. Now if he has another bad week against the Jets, like he had last week, then he's just not gonna be on the list at all.
All right, man. This wraps up another episode of Routed Up. Whittle, what do you have to end?
Oh, man, just pray for us, man. We're going through a trying time right now in Buffalo, man. It's been 2 weeks. I don't know where the slippery slope ends. Hopefully, it ends Monday. We will be at the game. Myself and a few other Bills fans. And listen, man, if we pull that out, I'm coming back next week and I'm talking crazy. Like we didn't lose 2 games over the last 2 weeks. But no, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. On YouTube, Coast to Coast. We're on the Do Champions Network. You can check us out. You can hit me up on Twitter at Whittle2K. The links in the bio. And yeah, man, I'm trying to be a better me. That's it.
What you got, Mick?
For me, for the Patriot fans, I'll talk to them first. And we got a new game with a new quarterback. It's really exciting for the fan base. So I hope it turns out good this week. As far as that goes, secondly, we got the Check Down podcast at 11 a.m. every Saturday. We talk college football. We talk NFL and betting lines and all that good stuff and storyline. And you can also catch me on Twitter. Same name as you see on the screen, JMIK. And not be in the spaces, man. Like I be listening a lot, so and just be careful what you say.
Appreciate all y'all for watching. Appreciate you for listening to Routed Up, your Saturday morning show. See y'all next week. Peace.